What up, fighters and fight fans? It's Salvador Rosas bringing you another Sweet Science tutorial. This one I'm doing a little bit differently. I actually want to revisit the Vasyl Lomachenko sidestep. It was the very first video that I ever did, and initially I just wanted to get the move in front of you guys. I hadn't really studied or really implemented it much within my own offense, so I didn't have a lot of practice before I made it. So it's been about a year since then. So I've had plenty of time to kind of implement it in my footwork, and it's definitely a lot more polished now, definitely a lot more polished part of my offense. And so I wanted to revisit that and kind of show you guys a cleaned up version of it with a little bit better explanation. As you may have noticed, you know, if you watch or follow boxing at all, Vasyl Lomachenko is on an absolute tear right now. You know, forcing his last two opponents to quit on the stool. Nicholas Walters easily was in the pound for pound list before that. Jason Sosa, who actually had a draw with Nicholas Walters. I mean, he just looks absolutely unstoppable right now. In his last fight against Jason Sosa, I mean, it looked like you were watching a video game. Like, I kid you not, it looked like he was in a video game or something. Just the pace that he puts forth, just a relentless attack, the craziest footwork you'll ever see. So I wanted to kind of bring at least one of the elements of his footwork. I don't have his footwork, I'm not even close, but I know at least one of his, one step of his footwork that I kind of wanted to bring you guys so you guys could implement that. So I'm going to get to the explanation and kind of show you guys a demo of it as well. So Vasyl Lomachenko, you know, when he obviously fights southpaw. I'm an orthodox fighter, but his move can really be utilized in any direction, and you're seeing it a lot more nowadays. Actually, if you walk into gyms nowadays, you'll kind of see people teaching the move now as they previously didn't. So you can see that Vasyl Lomachenko is really kind of changing the game, so to speak. But essentially, what you're going to see is that when he's squared up on you, like, you know, and he's throwing his offense, he'll do a side shuffle that is not a traditional boxing step. In traditional boxing, they teach you to create an angle. You know, you step to the side of your opponent and throw your punches, or you step the opposite, or you step the other direction. But the issue with that is the most that you can get of an angle is a 45-degree angle, right, to your opponent with that single step. You'll see Pacquiao. Pacquiao was, he's great at creating angles, you know, but all of his angles are pretty much created off of throwing a ton of punches and then sidestepping, just stepping to the side. Vasyl Lomachenko creates much more dramatic angles because he actually gets 90-degree angles on his opponent. And the way that he does that is by actually very subtly taking 2 steps instead of 1. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So traditional boxing, if I'm going to be rotating around my opponent this way, I'm going to, you know, step this way, you know, and throw my punches. Vasyl Lomachenko does a little bit different. Instead of just taking this step this way, he covers more distance by pulling his back leg around first and then kind of just stepping through. So he goes here, boom, right? So you'll see that he actually took 2 steps in about the same amount of time that it usually takes people to take 1 step. So he covers more distance because he's able to get 90 degrees as opposed to 45 degrees because in essence he's taking 2 steps and covering more distance. And when he does that, it's not just a step, right? If you'll notice, I rotate my hips with it too, and that's important, obviously, right? Whenever you're pivoting around kind of like a fixed fixed object or opponent, you have to kind of turn your hips, turn your shoulders to create that angle. So in doing so, he pulls this back leg and then just simply steps through with his lead leg, right? And turns those hips. Boom. A lot of times he'll follow it up with a hook, either to the body. I mean, against Jason Sosa, he did that a ton and just hit him in the body, took a lot of body shots, or he'll hook to the head. And when he's going the opposite direction, it's the same thing, except a little different. So it all starts still with the back leg, except it goes a little bit different. So when you're rotating around where your lead hand is, this leg pulls behind, kind of. Your legs never really cross, but it pulls behind. To go this way, the way that he does it is he actually will pull his body in this direction first with his back leg, and then step and follow through, right? So it'll look like this. He's hitting, boom, follows up, right? So you'll see I started off by pulling my weight in this direction, by pulling myself this way, and then just taking the steps, right? So it's like boom, 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 right? Follows up with that left hook or something, right? So going this way, pull your back leg around this way. To go this way, pull your body in this direction first. Follow up with kind of like step through. It's very similar to like like you'll do football drills or other drills where you're kind of just like sidestepping, right? You're just kind of sidestepping like that. And it's very similar to that, except you're rotating around a fixed point instead, right? You're rotating, instead of going linearly from side to side, you're turning your hips so that you can rotate with it, right? And so by doing that, you're able to create those more dramatic angles that you see him do. And really, when you have 90 degrees on someone, the only way that they can really defend against that is by trying to get into the space that you just vacated. That's all they can do. A lot of times you'll see the opponent actually just turn into his punches a lot of times. Also that technique can work very well when you're against the ropes, turning your opponent, because you can, depending on how dramatically you turn your hips, you can create more of an angle depending on how close they are and so on and so forth. You'll kind of get a feel for the distance. Once you get the move down, you'll start to be able to manipulate the distance and kind of control how big of a step you're taking, how much you're rotating with your hips to create those angles and to really get over on your opponent. I don't see anyone slowing down Lomachenko at this point. Surprisingly enough, Regan Dow did just recently say that if Vasyl Lomachenko names the weight that he's willing to fight him, I'd pay a lot of money to see that fight. This is one element of his footwork, and that's it, just one. There's so many other facets to his game, so many other facets to his footwork. The man should be on Dancing with the Stars, for crying out loud. But I just wanted to put this move in front of you guys again, a little bit more polished version. If you guys have any other questions about this move or any of the other previous tutorials, feel free to post them in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time.